Well, okay, I guess I'm streaming. Um, this is gonna be me eating lunch stream. I have soda. I have crushed ice, and I have hot chicken strips from Bashas' Safeway. Can't remember where I was last. I think Bashas'. Um. So yeah. Uh. I guess I'll bring up my chat app. Okay. And I guess I should edit my YouTube preferences, but I don't really feel like it, but I'm ready to do it here. Low quality non-content, Okies, playlists, stream of consciousness, sure. No, it's not made for kids. No, it's not age restricted. My video doesn't contain any promotions. All right. Okay. Allow live chat to play. We're going to change it to entertainment because this is entertainment. And I think I usually put location. And that's about it. I don't know. I wish I could figure out how to get those settings to stay in, but I think I'm using the wrong type of YouTube. I'm using events. So events you have to set up separately. And I think if I don't use the events thing, then I can just set one set of settings and it'll work just like before. But I haven't experimented around with it. And one problem is that if you start a stream and then stop and then try to experiment, you have to wait a while before you can start up again, or else it won't work right. And so I don't know. I'm a little frustrated with it, but I'm just kind of used to doing this now. Whenever I stream, I have to go in the YouTube settings and put a bunch of stuff in there. That's just the way it is. So there it is. Now, let's see. I want to close this window now. And hi. Somebody popped in on, what is that? DLive? Yeah. Or what? What is it? No, that's Facebook chat. Okay. Hello on Facebook. Not a lot of people usually watch on Facebook, but I stream there. Or it's Periscope. I'm not sure, actually. Let me see. Oh, no, it's Periscope. I see. Periscope's going away soon. It will soon go the way of the it will soon go the way of Mixer. So can I zoom in here or what? Do I have a zoom that works? Let's see. That's pretty bad. That's a horrible webcam. But the GoPro here, that's its tightest shot. And then the zoom looks terrible. GoPro is really not very good as a webcam. It's a great camera in other ways. You can take great pictures with it, great videos if you use it as a standalone, but if you're streaming directly from the USB, it doesn't look, this is as good as it looks. And I mean, you can kind of tell if you get the full view that it's a better camera than this, but you know, all right, let me see. So I should get like a Trovo up and a bit wave up, because that won't be in the general chat. Trovo doesn't appear in the general chat for some reason. I think this is what, so I have to, what, Trovo? Come on, what, Trovo dot live? Is it dot live? I don't know. Trovo, unless it's there. Okay, I got Trovo here somewhere. Okay, let me see what I got here. I got to pull this out here, and let me see if I can get the chat to pop out. And did it work? Okay. All right, and shows that I'm live. Let's see, my channel. All right. And then I think I can pop the chat out in a little window like that. Okay, like that. And then okay. So there's another chat. I think that's about it. I know Facebook will show up, and a few other things will show up. That's weird that I finally got a comment from Periscope. I don't think I get a lot of those. And then let me see, when it comes to Bitwave. Okay. Am I indeed logged in? Okay. Hey, Sleepy, is that current? What does that say? 714. Sleepy drink. Sleepy. Okay, Sleepy. Good to see you. I'm going to. I think I can pop the chat out with one of these things up here. Let's see. Pop out chat right here. Okay. Sure. Okay, there it is. Let's see here. Site is muted because I'm multi-streaming. And all right, I have all the chat. I can see all the chat. Hello, yeah, this is like me having lunch. So yesterday I streamed taking down my Christmas decorations. And today, let's see, how can I make this narrower? How narrow can I make these? This one pretty narrow too. This. Oops. I don't want to make that any bigger. Can I make this narrower? I can a little bit. Okay, like that. That's pretty good, right? All right. And so I don't think I can make this much smaller, but I'll just do it. I think I'm streaming at I don't have any storage for that. So, and there is no sign on my front lawn that says that such storage is available here. Oh. Uh, maybe I should get a plate this time. I've got a napkin here. Uh, Vintage Corel. I like Corel plates because they don't take up much space, so they're pretty good in that way. I don't know. I got a pile of hot chicken tenders. I can't heat them up really. I don't know. Maybe I should put them in my oven. Maybe I should put them in the oven because my microwave died a couple of days ago, and so I have not replaced it yet. I don't know of a good way to heat this up if not in the oven. Mmm. It's pretty warm though. It's not too bad. Um, is that Uva? Muller? Well, well, that sounds too good to be true. So you know what they say about that? I am none of those things. Mmm. I got some chilled ranch sauce. It's pretty good. It is good. It's delicious. It's hot chicken tenders. I didn't used to eat on the stream, but ever since the lockdown thing and the quarantine thing or whatever, I relaxed my what few rules I had. So, and then you find out that people are kind of into that sometimes. So you don't know. Maybe I should show my feet and eat on the stream. So maybe I should have a foot cam. So the thing you don't know about me is that I have the feet of an angel. And considering my age, that's really an unusual thing. So Perhaps there would be a market for that. Now that's, I think, the first time I've disclosed that on the stream, but and I'm not sure where that genetics comes from. I know. I wasn't aware that he did. But no, Trolley, I am not a Rastafarian. I got some I don't want to forget my chicken in the oven. I'm keeping it hot. I'm keeping it hot in the oven because my microwave is broken. So what was I saying? Oh, yeah, no, my hairstyle isn't because of anything. It's just a hairstyle. It doesn't signify anything. It's okay, really. They can say whatever they want. Um, it's only on Bitwave, so I mean, I'm streaming on more platforms, but uh, um, but no, it's fine. They can say what they want. They say much. You guys are much worse normally than this. So this is pretty tame. Hey, Ree. Oh. I guess I'll take one strip out at a time so that it doesn't get cold. Subbed just because I'm a puss about speech. Um, I have no aversion to saying any words, but I am multi-streaming right now, so that's why I wouldn't. I wouldn't say like I mean, I feel like the N word is just a word, but I wouldn't say it if I had no reason to say it. So like when I did an exclusive stream on Bitwave, I said it because I was talking about PewDiePie and what happened to him and the hatchet job the media did on him. Actually, speaking of the Matrix, like the guy that I can't remember his name, but the guy that played I think the character was Tank in Matrix 1. Oh, oh, I see it now, yeah. I'm not wearing good glasses to see because my I should probably wear these. These are progressive. This is the only way in which I am progressive. But this is my first pair of progressives ever. They make you feel a little seasick. But if you get them just right, you can pretty much see any intermediate distance. When you're but they have like a really narrow zone. It's only sort of in the center, like in here, where they start to become readers. So, um, um, what kind of jobs have I had? Oh, all kinds. I've owned businesses throughout the years too. Tech jobs, um, shit jobs. I cannot salsa dance. I did take a course in tango, me and my wife actually, but it's hard. Argentinian tango. It's hard because it's all lead follow. So it's an amazing form of dance that is at once completely improvised and very rigid at the same time. And it's amazing when you're good at it. You can just do amazing things with it. But when people are good at it, it's quite a thing to see. Okay, another chicken. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, that was a good idea, putting them in the oven, because now they stay warm. Uh, So, um, I'm not really a very good dancer, though, or as such. I mean, maybe I could be, but so let's see, jobs, all kinds. I think my first job ever was selling greeting cards door to door. I was still in grade school at that time. Um, I think then after that, as a teenager, I worked in a mail room. I probably washed some dishes here and there. I went to school for computer science and didn't really work in that until the 90s. Worked as a musician. Favorite job? Um, um, I was a personal assistant, attaché, and driver to a land developer. And I learned quite a lot about real estate when I did that job. So much so that I was able to buy a place to live, and I was only in my very early 20s. Okay, yeah, keeping these in the oven is definitely the way to go. So, yeah, that was probably my favorite job of all time. Although I liked working when I moved to Oregon, I worked in tech support. And that's kind of like the bottom tier tech job. So if you're a total slacker but you want to work in tech, then in the late 90s at least, tech support was the way to go. Uh, it paid pretty well. You didn't have to be a salesman like you did later on, because you know what happened was, as time went on, most of the tech support went to like India and places like that. Well, thank you for saying so. Um, and so, um, yeah, it's a good slacker job, and but later in the 2000s, if you wanted a tech support job, you kind of had to be a salesman. It's hard to shift gears between those things. Lately on Twitch, people keep advertising for getting 1,000 followers. It's really easy to get followers on Twitch, though. It's not that hard at all. You don't need a service to get followers. So, but lately I see a lot of those things popping up on Twitch. People say, get 1,000 followers. 1,000 followers is meaningless. Like if you trade subs with people, and stuff, probably about 1% of those followers will actually be real people that will watch you. Hey there. They're like some red hot chicken strips. Um, this is the last one. Yeah, pretty good. Oh, I think I might not need this extra one here. We were talking about what jobs I had, and yeah, they're super good. They're sort of like, buffalo wing flavor. And my I put them in the oven a little bit ago because my microwave is broken. So I have one of those microwaves that's like above the range, and it also serves as the range hood. So I gotta look into getting another one of those, I guess. But at least I can see. Like if I use these glasses, I can see the chat from. I don't know. It's like twice the length of my arm away, and I guess I could put the chat up on my phone or my tablet or whatever, but it's okay. I did not announce this on social media of any kind. Um, when you do, more people will watch. I'm pretty knowledgeable, but like as I was telling uh one of the JDanks Army guys that programs, um my programming skills are pretty rusty. So, um by the way, is everyone hearing everything okay? Is it are the levels good? I'm not sure if I should be pushing my um I should be pushing my compressor a bit higher. I have a feeling I backed it off a bit much, so maybe that's better. I don't know. I pushed it up another dB. One of the JDanks Army guys, the guy that did JDanks' website, um, he's been messing around with .NET programming, and uh, um, he was asking me about my programming skill, and I'm a good programmer, but I'm rusty right now, so I'm not up on all the latest tools and and techniques. I've been told that kind of one of the things that I want to do is probably using a weblet architecture. I can put this extra ranch sauce away. But, I have a feeling that I could do a rudimentary version of a piece of software I want to write without too much trouble, and I think maybe I should be doing it. But anyway, code some stuff and throw it up on GitHub. That's what most of us do. Yeah, I feel like the last time I wrote a seriously polished piece of software was a thing called MIDI Archiver, and if you search that up, it used to be on a thing called Two Cows. So that tells you how long ago I did it, probably in 2004. But I put it up on Two Cows, and it had to qualify in a certain ways to be up there. Yeah, it's still around, but if you don't maintain stuff I didn't maintain that code base, and I didn't maintain that program, so after a while they took it down or deprecated it or something. You can't find it on there anymore. However, if you search for it, you'll find it on like some weird Chinese sites and stuff. Don't download it. I'm sure they packed it with spyware. So it's kind of like when you have a domain and you let it go and then it becomes one of those portal sites. You can still like I don't know, like, so I wrote MIDI Archiver in straight C, and it was a Windows program, and that's the hardest way to write Windows programs. There was a thing called Visual Basic, which is like part of Visual Studio.net now, and a lot of people use the .NET framework now because that isolates you from the APIs, and the APIs keep changing. And I don't know. It's a lot of work to write a to write a Windows program in C. Is a pretty fair bit of work because you actually have to write a message pump and then get and process messages. And then trying to find out which API sets do what was another problem. Documentation was everywhere. It was really hard to find stuff. This was in the Windows 95 days, so I wrote a Win16 kernel and a Win32 kernel version of this program. So I had two versions out there. Then I had an installation program that I used, Setup Factory, I think, and so it would install either the Windows 95 or the Windows NT version. I don't even think I have a copy of that program anymore. I think I have the source code somewhere, but I had to write a help system for it because 2Cals required that. You had to get, so many cows in order to get on 2Cals. So I did what I could, and I got I think I got a 4 out of 5 cows rating on it because I was willing to jump through that many hoops in order to get it up on 2Cals. But it did not require 2 actual cows, no. But I don't remember what the limit, I don't remember how many cows you had to get to be able to put it up there. But there was a checklist of things that a polished piece of software had to have. So one of the things it had to have or could have, you could balance it against whatever you think you wanted to add to it. So I got I put a help system in it, which was really not all that helpful, but at least I put it in there. And that got me another cow. And I didn't put my source code out with it, but I did put my programming notes out with it, just for the heck of it. So coulda, woulda, shoulda. But yeah, anyway, that was probably, I think 2004 to 5 is probably the last time I wrote a really polished piece of software that was actually usable. I've actually met a few people that downloaded it and used it, but it's been incorporated, or the idea of it has been incorporated now into a program called Piano Tech. That's Piano TEQ, and that's a mathematically modeled piano program. And I told them about my MIDI archiving program and how it was kind of an upgrade to the kind of buffer saving thing that a lot of music programs use that use MIDI. And they liked the idea, so they incorporated it into Piano Tech. And so to this day, it is still available in that program, which is pretty cool. How much time did I have in the project? A long time. Because I kept studying up on Windows programming and adding, polish to it. Like one of the things I figured out how to do over time, which took a lot of research, was how to make the program shed memory that it didn't need. That wasn't like part of its actual variables, but like were part of the Windows architecture that tended to gobble up lots of memory for no reason. And so it was recording everything I played on my keyboard after the first, say, couple of days. But um, um, but then I kept adding functionality to it. I never created a settings dialog because it didn't have that many settings, so I put it all on a assist tray menu. So like all the settings were on the tray menu. You just right click the icon and you get a little menu that pops up, and everything on there, all the settings were changeable on there. But that it got to be where there were a couple more features on there than if you want to like, you really need to be a C programmer, and you really need to learn assembly language, I think, and really get like into the guts of computer science and understand hardware and layers. Because like the stuff that people know, like for example, like how to root a Android phone. So like the stuff that people do, to actually affect things online. They have to understand how online platforms work, so they can attack them in one way or another. A lot of hacking is confidence. It's really just being a con man. So like it's either getting someone to run a piece of software so you can get behind their firewall, or getting the confidence of someone in order to get them to do something like that. Because a lot of times it's not breaking in like they show it in the movies. It's getting something to run behind the firewall. So there's a variety of techniques. There's breaking in techniques, but there's also like Kevin Mitnick. He used to get backdoor access to websites and stuff he did that by befriending people and getting them to run software that would open a portal for him to get into their backdoor system, And he became like a security advisor after, like that's what happens to a lot of hackers. A lot of hackers, they get really good at it, and then instead of going to jail, they get hired by security companies, or they start their own security companies. Yeah, Kevin Mitnick. Yeah, yeah, he's a pretty interesting guy. I didn't know if he had. I didn't really know if he was still around or if he'd retired yet or whatever. He must be pretty old at this point. Um, but it sounds like you know quite a lot about it, Janny. Uh, so I don't know. I feel like there's a project I want to do. Okay, it is a disruptive piece of software. It would be incredibly disruptive, and for some reason, I don't know why, nobody has thought of it or tried it. I'm not sure why, because it's an obvious thing, I think. Although my brain doesn't work like normal people's brains, so maybe I do see something that other people don't see. I don't know. But if I had any sense, I would put, um, if I had any sense, I would put a team together, of amateur programmers that are maybe younger than myself that are currently using all the um yeah, I know it's a what people do and do not find obvious. It's strange. Like this idea, it feels obvious to me, but there is no sign of it on the web anywhere. So you would know if it existed, you would know because people would be using it. But and I almost feel like since I'm not doing it, that I should just talk about it. So until somebody else does it. But then again, I feel like maybe it's a good project for me. I mean, it would be hard. It would be a hard learning curve because it's kind of programming I've never done before. But um, um, I often have like at least one Linux machine going. My last Linux machine died. I actually like bought this cheap laptop to be like the TV connected laptop, and it had like Windows 10 on it, and it just kept crashing. It was in horrible. It was a real cheap computer, like $200, a laptop, and it used to die all the time, crash, and eventually one day it just crashed its last time, and then so instead of restoring it, um, I put Linux on it. I put like whatever. I went to Distro Watch and just decided. I just went to Distro Watch and got whatever was the most popular and put that on it. And yeah, they barely work. That's right. Well, the cheap ones, they're not good. Like this one I'm streaming on is a gaming laptop. It's MSI. MSI's hardware is usually good, although it's not as good as Asus, I think. MSI, a lot of times, they're cool components they put into their laptops where their motherboards don't work properly a lot of the time. So I've always had trouble with MSI, but this was a good deal and when I bought it, so um, I knew I would regret it, and I did. But I had to, monkey around with it. Eventually, I got everything to work okay on it, but it was not perfect, like right out of the box. I had to turn some things off and change some things around to get it to work. But yeah, so I can't remember which Linux, but I put it on my TV laptop. Gave it another year of life before the hard drive finally died. Now I'm trying to decide whether I should um, um, put a new hard drive in it or just get another laptop because they're pretty cheap. I mean, those $200 ones are what they are. They If you get lucky, they can be pretty. They can last a while. That this one wasn't so great, but I do have a couple of old laptops lying around right now with kind of iffy hard drives in them. What do you have? SSDs? Yeah, they are pretty cheap. So I feel like I could probably get an SSD and put it in there. I just haven't done it yet. I got to open it up and see what actually it has in there. Um, I think it wasn't an SSD. I might need to get an adapter. It's hard to say. It's probably like a SATA adapter that I will need. I'm not really sure, but we'll have to see. I don't know. I have to take it apart and see, but I haven't done it yet. I don't know. Apart from the, or I could run it off a jump drive too. That's another thing I could do easily. Um, that's actually not a bad. uh, so I get that a lot. I get that a lot, Mr. 1488. uh, um, I had no idea that I had no idea originally that uh, like getting this hairstyle was going to be so controversial, but um, it doesn't signify anything except that I have really nappy hair and we have really hard water up here, which makes your hair even frizzier. And it just seems like a good way to, if you want your hair to be long, it seems like a good way to do that. Laptops always end up with the, yeah, I know they do. Uh, yeah, exactly. A friend of mine bought a gaming laptop of a couple generations before this one, and they tend to heat up, and it would die, and then it wouldn't boot. uh, um, but I feel like uh, I could claim I don't know. I don't think so. I think it comes from uh see, I mean you can tell I'm pretty fair skinned, and there's a picture of me around somewhere where kind of my hair is about shoulder length, and you can just see how frizzy it is. Um, but I'm like half German and half Italian, but uh, I have like red haired, freckled, light skinned people on both sides, which you need because it's a recessive. So, um, and I understand that going back like on Ancestry, that on my mother's side of the family, which is the German side, that goes back to Scotland, and then on my father's side, my great grandmother had some kind of a red-headed, freckled mistress. So, um, so those kind of because there's kind of a mix of both appearances in my family on my dad's side. So, like for example, my brother is olive skinned, dark. He tans really dark, and I don't tan at all. So, um, is building a website from scratch a good idea? No, it's not a bad idea. You could definitely, uh, freckle gang. Ah, it means I have no soul, gingers. But, um, Um, yeah, I feel like you learn a lot creating a website from scratch without using a, like use. Yeah, exactly. Like I was going to say, learn CSS from scratch. Don't use a tool to adapt your CSS. Learn some scripting. Exactly. That's Jenny. Jenny is totally. I totally agree with everything he's saying. Um, it's really good to. It's really good to learn the actual HTML code. And even though it's gotten really complicated right now, and websites tend to be database driven, and you kind of, that's another thing you need to learn, is you need to learn how to work with a database, because like a really cool site is going to use a database for a back end or something like that. So I mean, that's how all the big sites work. And um, then there used to be a lot of extensions for database driven sites, and you could create headers and footers, and create, you know but I'm not sure like what people are doing now. I haven't taken a look here lately. So um there were a couple of like HTML extension systems that like site designers would use to make site creation easier, and uh, so they could code the meat of this. They could code the meat of the um yeah. Um anyway, so yeah, so like I used to use something called, I can't even remember now what it was called, when I managed a website or two. Um you could write your you could write your pages in really plain HTML, and then you would include a header and footer, like kind of almost like an include file, and and your CSS would be applied to your website, so to your each page, so you didn't have to rewrite or re-import. Yeah, like PHP. I think it was PHP. I'm not sure. Because there were PHP out there, and then there were also there was something called what the heck was it called? Um, it was like PHP, but it was something proprietary, like something like Dreamweaver used. Yeah, Cold Fusion. Cold Fusion. I think so. Yeah, is that still around? I don't know. I haven't done any websiting. I haven't done any websiting, and I haven't done any web design in a long time, or have any kind of web maintenance or anything. So, uh, yeah, Cold Fusion, absolutely, that's what it was. Yeah, but it had a it was pretty easy to use, because you could create a header and a footer, and then all your pages would have the same look, and um, um, this software project of mine is kind of like I'm not sure like what would be the best way of doing it. I feel like I could write an app to like a separate app, but I have a feeling like I have a feeling like generating a web page on the fly locally would actually be a better way of doing it. And you might not need an app for that. too. You might just be able to use a link that downloads a little bit of JavaScript or whatever. I'm not sure. Like, I just feel like maybe generating a website locally would be a fine way to do this thing. But I'm not sure. I probably want to. I probably should like. Stream keeps messing up. Let me see. Am I going in the red? I'm not, as far as my stream monitor shows. I'm not going in the red. Keeps freezing on your end. I'm streaming at 2200 bit rate. So I feel like, and that's probably too fast for what I'm doing. I mean, I can go 6,000 with my internet connection. I got a pretty good internet connection, but today's discussion, we're talking programming at the moment. So I don't know. Maybe I should get on Discord with some of you guys, and maybe talk about this project, and maybe we could form a group to do it. It would kind of be cool to be, personally, be the lamest member of an elite group of programmers, because I would definitely be the lamest member, being probably the most out of practice of any of you. But it's not a bad idea, and it wouldn't probably take that much to get a version of it up and running. And once you did, it could be potentially a huge game changer. And it would really exist under the radar for a good long time. Huh. So, like, yeah, and the last couple of times I streamed on Bitwave, I had to use the alternate. I had to use the alternate RTMP because the main one was down. And then I tried the alternate a few days ago, and it wouldn't work, and so I went back to the main one, and it worked. So, and I'm not sure why he uses two separate URLs for the site. Because that's like another expense to have to manage another URL, but another domain. So that seems not really necessary. There's like Bitwave and Bitrave. Welcome back, Sleepy. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if anyone is. Yeah. I'm not really getting, for some reason, I'm not really getting a lot of people on. That was the only largest expense he had. GitHub, Aquamarine. Is it like a? It's blue. Agua Metal Labs. Let's see what it is. It's probably a keylogger, but what it's an experimental project, still in the early stages of development, not suitable for production development, and should not be used in an untrusted or mission-critical environment. Okay. All right. What is it? Here's a thought experiment. What if we pretend for a minute that today's programming ecosystem wasn't a sprawling jungle of almost limitless complexity, but instead just another customer's domain knowledge? What if we treated our own dev environment the same as we would a new customer who wants to manage her baseball card collection or keep inventory in their warehouse? Aquameta is a result of many years of exploring the outcomes of this thought experiment. We modeled the web stack and database as relational data and prototype the tools for making this conceivably pleasant experience. I know, I was just kidding. Now, um, I generally have like it doesn't matter if I click on a keylogger, I've got software to prevent that from doing damage. But um, but no, I was just kidding, really. But I know that's what you guys get up to here on Bitwave sometimes. So um, I know that some of you will keylog people if they get too bent out of shape when you troll them. So uh, um, it's pretty cool. Of course, it would be poke around in the schemas to see how things look. Endpoint is a good place to start. Everything being data. Yeah, that's okay. Is this um so um are you a member of this team, Janny? The very loose federation of individuals. See, and that's kind of what I need to do is I need to set up a federation of individuals, but the problem is I don't want it to be out there until it's usable. And I know that like there's zillions of projects on SourceForge, so you really would be hiding in you if you did put it out there, you'd be hiding in plain sight. And I understand that probably would be okay, but on the off chance that the wrong person would see it, that would be unfortunate. Um, it's not that it's not that it's a super, it would be, I mean, it depends on how you put it, but like if you put it out there as a um I don't think it would be I don't think it would be self-evident by its description how disruptive it would be, or how disruptive it could be. But trust me when I say it would be extremely disruptive. Um, and it wouldn't be, it's got nothing to do with any platforms. It's not a platform. It doesn't compete with any platform, but it would give people a certain amount of freedom to do things they're not able to do now. And that's as far as I'll go explaining it out in the open. But, on a conference call or something, where we all kind of agree not to uh, talk directly or disclose what we talk about. I mean, that's impossible to enforce. I understand. I mean, heck, these big tech corporations, they have these high-powered non-compete, non-disclosure agreements, and stuff leaks out anyway. So, you know, they can't keep any. They can't keep any uh, like say DVD or storage encryption protocol secret. So um, it's just it's impossible to keep a secret these days. And if you need more than yourself to do something, then there's basically no way you can keep a secret unless you know the people really, really well, and you all know, and you're all really on the same page. If you really know your people really well, I guess you can be. Uh, but exactly. And there are infiltrators, and you got to look out for that. And if you put it up on SourceForge, it's funny. A lot of people would probably, um, yeah, exactly. So that's the point of, so that's why I mean they can't keep these things secret, and they can't keep the methods secret, and um, so um, but stuff leaks out. I don't know. I have a feeling that it would be interesting. It would be an interesting project, and I've thought about it for a while now. And I would like to see it actually come to fruition, but I don't really know. Like, so it either it has to be me, which means I have to dive into a programming project that I know hardly anything enough to do. So I'm almost starting from zero. Um, um, yeah, I have searched around. Well, I've searched around to see if anyone has thought of anything similar to it, and I have not yet found that. Although I know for a fact there are some technologies out there capable of doing a number of the things that I want to do, but not in the same way and for the same reason. So it's not absolutely trailblazing technology or anything. It's just a way of using things. But, well, it's always hard. Like when you embark on a new programming project, it's always hard to get started, especially if you're a little rusty, even if you've got good programming skill in general. Every new paradigm is different, and new languages, they're not. I mean, you can pick up on that pretty fast, but a lot of it is techniques that that work with hardware, that work with websites, and that um synchronize one technology to another or whatever. I mean, I'm just kind of talking off the top of my head now, but it's always hard to start a project. Um, because documentation is never very well organized. And a lot of times you may be making, see, I don't want to start and go the wrong direction because I don't want to make it where I don't want to write a standalone app when I find that it's if I can see that it's not necessary. So um and like I said, I think that this could actually exist in a dynamically generated local web page. And that would actually be ideal to the software itself because it would be uh, um, it is like a thing that would be presented like that as a web page. So it would have some client server architecture. It would also have some yeah, exactly. So it's hard, that's the hardest part of a project like that is you either have to do your own experiments or find the right documentation or whatever. You always have to do a combination of both. Sometimes you discover things and there's no documentation. You just have to figure stuff out for yourself, and I don't know, I feel like it can be it can be daunting, and here I am. I'm not getting any younger, so it feels like you get to a certain age and it feels like you don't have time for a huge project, but you do, really. I mean, it's not like you can't learn something new or learn a new yeah, exactly. I mean, it's generally speaking, you'll be looking like when you're looking for something in documentation, you'll be looking in the wrong place over and over, and then it's usually like you have to figure out the right search terms in order to find what you're actually looking for. But since you've never looked for it before, you don't know what the right search terms are, and so it becomes like this horribly frustrating process of trying to find out trying to think like what the original programmers how they would have what they would have called this so you can search for the right thing and actually find what you're trying to do. It's just super frustrating. And while I know one guy in particular that could probably do this in his sleep, he's not an easy guy to work with. I mean, if you think I'm neuroatypical, he's like, or an order of magnitude or two more neuroatypical than me. And he also has a full-time job, so I'm not sure he could devote extra time to this, which is too bad because he really is quite brilliant. And, I've been thinking maybe that he could at least point me in the right direction. He's pretty good at explaining things. Um, so, uh, he's a guy that's worked pretty hard to get to where he is, and he's got a gig at Intel now as an actual Intel employee. So that's pretty hard to get, and making a good amount there. Hopefully he's doing okay. It's always touch and go with him because he's so unusual. But um, yeah, I feel like maybe I ought to give him a call. And I don't know, like some of you guys though that I've talked to on here, I feel like you could probably contribute to a project like this. You know, we could all sign a blood pact and not disclose it until it's usable. But um, um, It's awesome. Hopefully gets that on 7NM soon. I don't know what that is. But this guy, he writes programs involving some real esoteric math stuff. Oh, 7 nanometer chip process, smaller die sizes. Oh, okay, I see. Okay. More of a counselor. Well, facilitators are important. But yeah, oh, I see what you're talking about. Nanometers. Yeah, so yeah, I mean he is um I don't know. Anyway, he's a very interesting guy. And I went to high school with him, so and he's just one of these Einstein level kind of geniuses that, they have unmeasurable IQs, you know. I'm not like that now. When I take an IQ test, I'm like a 135 to 140 kind of range, but um uh depending, I don't know. I might have scored higher when I was smoking because smoking made everything better. I mean cigarettes. Whatever cocktail of alkaloids was available in cigarette smoke made me very, very better uh, to manage a lot of streams of thought and keep more plates spinning at once. I don't know. Now that I'm not doing that anymore, I quit smoking before I was 40, and I smoked for about 5 or 6 years, or 7, or whatever. It was as though my whole life came together, though. Um, yeah, I have noticed that actually. And everything is writing, any kind of concentration. I feel like whatever combination of alkaloids, it's not just the nicotine, because I've tried nicotine, I've tried vaping, I've tried the patch, and things like that, and that helps maybe a tiny bit, but not like cigarette smoking did. And of course, cigarette smoking uh, is so bad for you in other ways. And so I really worked out pretty hard when I was a smoker because I didn't like being tired and not being able to walk upstairs. So I used to. Uh, it is a yes, it is. It's 1,000 chemical cocktail of awesome stuff, and you don't know. See, so there's other alkaloids in tobacco smoke other than just nicotine, and I have a feeling that some of those things were active ingredients, because when I when I smoked, I mean, I still did ADD stuff. People still kind of joked around about how I was, forgetful, but yet I could come around to the things I'd forgotten faster. And so things didn't get left in the dust. Whereas now, like, I'll finish cooking some soup or something and I'll leave the burner on. So, and it'll sit there for an hour until I happen to orbit back around and see it again. Things like that will happen more. That didn't used to happen when I was a smoker. And before I smoked, I really couldn't get more than a C on a course. I got C's and D's. I could never finish tests. When I smoked, I had a 3.8 GPA, highest being 4.0. And when I was at PSU, I probably would have had a 4.0 average if I hadn't been such an iconoclast and written such like all my papers were contra to the university narrative, let's put it that way. And I did suffer for that. I was penalized for that. Even though I made my case for what I had to say, I think I did a good job of that. I did write a lot of polemic back in school, and that was when I was doing a liberal arts degree, so I had to do a lot of that kind of stuff. You just end up writing so much stuff. But that wasn't a tech degree. That first tech experience, I was much younger, so I went to NAU and um, majored in computer science, engineering, and stuff like that. So, and I didn't take any gen eds back then, which I wish I had because I would have gotten them over with, and I wouldn't have had to take them later. Because by the late '90s when I started school again, they were super PC, and to say the least. I mean that even doesn't do them justice. And they're even worse now, a couple of decades later now. So, I mean, my gosh, I can't even imagine. But even by the late '90s, it was ridiculous. And the late '90s going in the early 2000s is when I was in school last. But, when I quit smoking, it was right back to the way it was before. I couldn't finish tests. I couldn't keep my grades up. I couldn't study, And that's about when I quit smoking, in the early 2000s. I just was, it didn't go well for me, but, I felt like I was getting a little too old to be smoking. And it's hard on your body. But, um, But I mean, if you notice people that have ADD issues, they're usually, I mean, especially in decades past. Maybe you don't see it as much anymore because everyone's also, you know. But like these folks, they usually were. Oh, hello, Sambo 75. Uh, They're usually coffee and cigarette people, though. If they're not diagnosed and they're not medicated, people with ADD or ADD-like symptoms, some of them can be like sort of autism spectrum people, and um, uh, I feel like those people tend to be like coffee cigarette type people, um, and people that do coffee or vape. Some of them vape, but like vaping to me has never been as good as cigarettes as far as what it did to stabilize my brain. Vaping never came close to that, even when I vaped a really strong solution. Uh, Nicotine alone was not the whole picture. So, um, but yeah, you definitely see these types of people often. They usually smoke cigarettes and drink coffee, though. And it's a funny thing too. When they stopped allowing smoking indoors, even before they passed a lot of laws, when they stopped having people smoke indoors, letting people smoke indoors, a lot of monotonous jobs lost just tons and tons of employees. They could barely get people in. I remember working at this place in the mid '80s, and they had a dress code, and they were all super corporate, and everything was all real serious. And then when they did away with smoking, and yeah, exactly. So, I mean, anyway, when they did away with smoking, they couldn't keep people in those seats anymore. It was such a monotonous job. Market research, people would quit right and left. They had to hire people that they couldn't work anywhere else because of their appearance, So, like devil worshippers and spiky hair punk people, and and just all kinds of people that like, where their appearance was more important than their career. And so they had, metal in their face and people like that. And that's kind of what took over in that job because even then they had a high turnover. They couldn't. I know Zappa, he probably invented jazz rock fusion, or if not, he was one of the early pioneers of it. I've heard some old videos like done in the 60s, and that stuff sounds like modern jazz rock fusion to a great extent. It's pretty amazing. And a lot of the 70s and 80s jazz rock fusion guys were people that played with Zappa in the original, band, one of the original bands. Um, I feel like, but yeah, poor guy. He had some kind of cancer, I think. I used to think he had an early heart attack, but no, he had some kind of cancer, like prostate or something like that. Like, just some random cancer that some people get. So, too bad because he was a great talent. Be nice if he were still around today. But, um, pretty interesting guy. Anyway, yeah, I feel like productivity probably went down, particularly in office environments when people stopped smoking. So when people were all coffeeed and cigarette, coffee, cigarette, in the office, I think people got a lot more done. And they didn't rage out and smash their cubicles like they do now when they quit. Basically, if you got a cup of coffee and a cigarette, you can be pretty happy anywhere. That was my experience, and I didn't understand that because when I worked at this place that I talked about in the mid '80s, I was not a smoker. Yeah, that's what I meant. They don't go postal. They didn't go postal. In fact, I'm old enough to remember the original cause of that term going postal. So, you know, that just used to happen over and over at the post office. Enough that there's that term and people still use it today, going postal. Um, but yeah, people go postal. They at least to the extent they may not like shoot up their office anymore, but or as much, but they do they smash up their cubicles on the way when they quit. When they've had enough, they just freak out. And I don't know. And I didn't really have as much of trouble. I remember when I worked in tech support, you couldn't smoke inside by then. That was like the late '90s and early 2000s, or I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. Mid late '90s. I don't know. Yeah, late '90s. I guess right before I went to school, and I used to uh, the place I worked, you had so many breaks you could take, and but they basically just totaled up your break time by how you were logged into your phone, and so uh, you could take shorter breaks. You could take a greater number of shorter breaks. So I would go out and smoke cigarettes, and then I was pretty okay working in a place where you couldn't smoke because I could have a smoke after a long call or whatever. And so it wasn't a problem. When I was in school, they still had a smoking room, so I used to like go in there and do my homework, and that was nice too. Then that went away. By that time, I was ready to stop. I was ready to stop smoking anyway. I was getting to that age where I felt like, and I don't know, my family, my daughter had some respiratory trouble, so I didn't smoke inside already my house, and um, I didn't want to be one of those smoking on the porch guys, so I just quit. And it really was hard on me. I really couldn't do anything. I couldn't keep my grades up. I couldn't finish tests anymore. I was just was just back to the way it was before. And then I tried, after a while, once I understood what was going on, it took me a while. I tried vaping, and it did help some, but not that much. I tried nicotine patches. That helped a little, but not that much. I tried other ADD drugs, Ritalin, Strattera. Um, there's a whole set of things. Um, you get pretty depressed when you can't do anything anymore. So you feel like you're helpless. And so then you have depression. So I took an antidepressant too that was also good with ADD. And, you kind of get on that gravy train. And that sort of helped some and sort of, I don't know. It was a rough 20 years after I quit smoking. Things are a little better now, but I'm definitely not back to where I was as far as smoking was probably the best, you know. I mean, clean living, there's a lot to be said for that. But if you can't do anything and you can't take care of your family properly and you can't make a difference in your life and you can't start a business and run it and keep a bunch of plates spinning, then what's the point of having a longer life? You can't even do anything. So, I mean, maybe it's better to smoke cigarettes and drink coffee and actually get things done and actually have, accumulate some wealth and not, whatever. I'm not sure. Is that German? That sounds like German. Not sure what that says though. But in any case, that's right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I see. It's not. It's not das something. It's das right. I get it. That's right. That's right. Okay. Uh um yeah, that's right. Uh so, it makes me think what would I have done the last 20 years? Yeah, exactly. I mean, I thought a lot on thoughts on, oh heck, I don't know. Oh, on Trovo. Thanks for dropping in on Trovo. Thanks for joining. Not a lot of people come on Trovo. I don't really know how to promote Trovo, really. It's just another platform that I stream to. Um, I should be begging for subs on YouTube, because if I get 1,000 subs, then I could get monetized, because I actually got qualified in all other ways. But thoughts on that? I assume you mean Vladimir Putin. I don't have any thoughts on him. I don't know anything about him really. He's the leader of Russia. Um, uh, I don't know. I don't know enough about him to know whether his. I mean, I remember when he made fun of the United States because he didn't think our markets were free enough, and coming from an ex-KGB guy, that was hilarious. Um, uh, yeah, I know that's true. I've heard of it. A lot of people have been trying. Uh, they've been getting actually certain psychedelic meds in low doses to help certain conditions, and I don't know. I've heard of a brand of electroshock, like a modern version, which uses much less power. That can help with ADD, also with tinnitus for some reason. And um, I'm not sure where those studies are lately, but I've heard a little bit about that. And I don't know. But in any case, um, welcome on Trovo. I'm not really sure what to do with Trovo. It's just a platform. It's another platform. I'm not sure what its story is. It seems to be mostly geared toward gaming, but I guess it's nice that a few people are joining. A few people, someone popped in and said hi on D Live here, and someone popped in and said hi on Periscope, which is going away soon. But yeah, this is today. This is Tuesday. You've never heard of so today is a work night for me, so I have to go to work pretty soon, like in about half an hour. So maybe I should sign off so I could spend a little time getting ready. So I'll be ready to go when I'm ready to go. As far as the weather goes tonight, what's it going to be like? It looks like it's not going to be all that cold tonight. So I might not need to wear thermals. Doesn't look like it's going to get any colder than 50 degrees tonight. In the dead of night at midnight. Looks like it's going to get looks like it's not going to get any colder than about 50. So according to this thing here, I don't know. Do I need to refresh this and see if it's better? No, it seems like it's about the same. Oh, you've never heard of electroshock being used for tinnitus? I see. It didn't scroll right. Yeah, I guess I'm going to sign off for now. Yeah, evidently it works pretty good for tinnitus. It helps your brain reset the background noise of your cochlear nervous output, and so it helps to reset the baselines. So it will take whatever the noiseless state is, whatever signals are coming through in the state where you're not hearing any noise, and it will evidently reset the brain's level for that. You know, it's like biasing almost in analog electronics. So but because part of not having tinnitus is not noticing the tinnitus, and because basically all your cochlea is always making sounds, is always sending signals to your brain, even when there's no noise. And so the trick is to get your brain to not recognize the silent state, or to recognize the silent state as silent. So the background noise coming from your cochlea is considered to be silent, and so you don't notice any sound coming from it when you're not actually hearing any sound. Tinnitus helps me ignore other people, and then thanks for helping bring back my tinnitus. I'm sorry, or you're welcome. I'm not sure which I should say. But I kind of go through that myself. I notice I'll sometimes I won't notice it, sometimes I will. And but when I do notice it, I do notice it's pretty loud, or it seems like it's pretty loud. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'll sign off for now. I think it's about 7 o'clock, so I got to be at work soon. So I guess I'm gonna say good night, you guys. So we'll see you later. Bye.